How the hell you doing, YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. So today's video we're going to be doing some more rendering outside. The next few videos should be rendering outside as we're having nice weather at this stage of the year, so we're going to do a wee bit outside. So basically what you're seeing me do here is the same as what we done the last time. This is a slurry mixed from, it's mixed with, well, if you go and look at the last rendering video, I think it was 2 videos ago, it'll show you exactly how they mix this stuff. But basically it's just SBR cement, and then I put some waterproofer in it as well, just to make sure that it's nice and waterproof. So you see, I can just brushing it on, same as sort of the last video. And yeah, so we're just getting it all into the nooks and the crannies, getting it so it leaves like a stipple effect. I felt like I've said this all in the last video, but I'll just go over it briefly again. It leaves a sort of stippled effect on the brick, and that gives our render something to stick to. This is another 1-day job, so I had the whole, basically we're redoing the plinth. It had all gone boast and started to fall off. So you can see there the Kango and stuff in the background. We'd stripped it off. We painted this stuff on, and when it was dried, then we applied our render. We're mixing our render here. It's 3-to-1. You could go 4-to-1, but I just prefer it to be that little bit stronger. When we're applying the render for the plinth, we're going to need to go over sort of the top. You can see the top course. We're 4 courses of brick we're covering. We just want to go slightly above the 4th and try to get the render straight along that, so we'll straighten it out. And then when we cut the top of our plinth, we're going to cut like a small so that there's like a small fall off the top, just if any water does run down the wall, so that it's just comes off and flows away rather than just sort of sitting on the top. So you'll see here I'm going to come back on myself and build the top of this render out a bit. So just you can see I'm putting a slightly thicker coat on there at the top, just building out across. And then we'll come across the bottom then and build the bottom out a bit as well. It's just so we can make sure when we do straighten it that it's nice and straight from the bottom till the very top, and it makes it easier for us to cut that sort of little bevel out on the top of the wall. This job, as I say, we're only 1 day on it. We'll have another bit of sand cement outside work to do next week. We're repairing a couple of pillars, so I'm probably gonna make a video off that. We're also gonna be installing some foil backed plasterboard, so I'm hoping to shoot some footage from that as well. You see there, I'm just taking the straight edge. It's basically the smallest one that I have, and I'm straightening from the bottom till the top, making sure that there's no slacks, and then I'm going to come across the whole length. It was hard with the windowsill here, as you can see the straight edge kept hitting off the windowsill, but what I'll do is I'll go back. You see me looking there and seeing that it's not completely straight, so I'll just come back with my trowel and just straighten that bottom inch or so. You can see just me scraping the bottom inch off, and that's just to make sure that it's nice and straight. We're also not using any beads on this job, so you'll see here I'm going to form the corners freehand. Obviously, like if it's your sort of first time doing it, I would say probably go with beads. But there was the client wanted the slight bell cast on this, was the reason I didn't use beads. But usually when I'm doing plinths, I'll form corners freehand anyway. It's just how I prefer to do it. It's how I learned. It's one of them things. I suppose everybody's different. You can use beads, of course. If you were going to do the whole thing, if you're going to bead the whole thing, obviously you're talking about more time, more money for the client. So just factor that in when you're doing it. I wouldn't say that this would be something to try if you're a novice. If you were going to do it, I would do it just a small section at a time. This was one of, I mentioned them. It was the review for the DeWalt mixer, cordless mixer, about the little mix render. So basically, I'd done the plinth the whole way around this house, and all the render was mixed with a DeWalt drill, just in my big mixing bucket that I use for skimming. It's more a bin than a bucket, to be honest with you. But yeah, so that's the stuff was mixed in that. Bringing a cement mixer down till, especially in the street, there was no parking at all. There was no space out on the street. Like, people were parked up on curbs and stuff like that there. And usually when I mix render, I like to do it out on the street, so it's easier to clean up afterwards. And just because of everything that was going on in the street, nowhere to park, I was parked halfway up the street. I had to carry everything down. So I just thought, for all it's going to take me, I think it mixed, was it three bucketfuls of sand and cement to do the plinth around this house. I think that was 3, 6, it was nine sand and 3 cement roughly. As I say, the drill's more incapable of doing it. You see there, extensively the battery is plugged in for the DeWalt mixer, but we only used one battery full, which wasn't too bad. Yeah, so now I'm just going to start rubbing up. So basically what I'll do first is I'll rub along the top edge that I'm going to cut. I'll rub it from the top down until the bottom, and then I'll clean sort of all the mess out of the way, and then just rub the bottoms in. Now, when you're doing this, the bottoms are always a lot wetter than the tops. So if it isn't dry enough, rub it down as far as you can, and then go ahead and as you can see me here, I'm using a trowel and a small tool, a pointer, just to cut the plinth along the top. And then here you can see, the same as the last video that I posted, I'm just forming that corner freehand using a trowel and my float. And then I'm going to take my trowel, and then I'm just going to cut along the top of the wall. When I'm doing this, I'll cut as much, I'll cut it as tight as I possibly can. I'll clean the wall down with the pointer, but what I will do is I'll come back in a few weeks when I know the render's good and set, and then I'll bring some brick acid and the wire brush, and I'll just clean any of the excess render off. You can see a wee bit of excess render there along the top brick. We'll clean that off to leave it nice and tidy for the client. You probably could try to get a cloth and clean it off and all that sort of stuff, but by the time that I had got round till the back, the stuff was setting, and when I came back to try the sort of give it a quick clean, it was already too hard, and I didn't want to start scraping it off and chipping the plaster, and it's a nightmare. So basically I'll just come back with some brick acid, and I'll just clean that little bit of render off the bricks above. Yeah, so as you can see here, we're just doing the same again. We're cutting all this excess render off, and then we're using that small tool and just flattening in the top, putting a slight edge. And then here you'll see the white fent. We're going to clean across, so we're going to rub it up around the white fent. trying to keep the render as flat as we can as we go. And then we're just going to cut, well, you see once we've done this other side, then we're just going to cut round the vent to make sure it's nice and tidy. Using a level would be a good shout for most people when you're cutting these out, but I do it by eye. We've just been doing it that long, you can sort of see when it's level and when it's not level, you know. So yeah, but basically we'll rub the rest of it up, and that's it all rubbed up now. And then I'm just going to drop back because this was drying rapidly, and then we're going to sponge along the top edge there, and then we're going to sponge the render itself. Sponging it brings all the aggregate till the top, and it leaves it a nice finish. You only want a damp sponge, and you just want to gently rub over the top just to get it nice and tidy. To be honest with you, this sponge probably wasn't the best. I had a bit of trouble with this one, just being too hard. I like the sponges to be a bit softer. But yeah, basically that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, bash the thumbs up, comment, turn on the notifications if you want to see more videos. That's it. Check out the social media.